It's unconditionally non-dependent. Like, it doesn't depend on anything. It doesn't come from anything.
Do you know that, Donnie?
No, let me clarify that I'm getting what you're
Donnie,
asking correctly.
do you? Last chance, Donnie. I've told you this several times. My patience has run out with me.
I'm trying to understand what you're
No,
telling
you're not. Okay, Donnie, do you know that your consciousness is unconditionally non-dependent?
Dude, I'm trying to understand what you're telling me.
You have 5 seconds to answer the question.
I exist, therefore I am.
Okay, well, that's a cakewalk, sir. That's like taking candy away from a baby. Now, you believe that only your consciousness can be known?
Yeah, as much as it is. I know what I know.
It is what it
is.
Is your fact of your consciousness an intelligible fact?
Is it intelligible? Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, good. Now, the fact of your consciousness that you know, that's the only thing that you can know. Mm-hmm. Is that fact a dependent fact or non-dependent?
It's non-dependent. Well,
okay.
I mean,
okay. Yeah. So in other words, your consciousness has always existed?
Well, not necessarily, right? It's existed since the time that I've noticed existed.
Sir, listen. Fast talking or rapid talking doesn't make you look like a good debater. It's actually making you look silly. Now, listen carefully to my questions.
Okay.
You claim that you can present one intelligible fact. Okay?
I did.
That you have consciousness. Now, your consciousness, you said it is non-dependent, which means that your consciousness is going to have to be eternal and that it did not begin to exist. Did your consciousness begin to exist, or has it always existed?
Well, I mean, that all depends on it, right? I don't know if it knows that it knows. I don't know.
Sir, listen to me real quick. It's a very simple question.
Right.
Has your consciousness always existed? Is it eternal?
I don't know. It could have.
Okay, well, here's the problem. If you don't know whether it's eternal or not, then you cannot know that your consciousness is non-dependent.
Okay. So here's the thing, right?
Do you understand? Listen to me. We're not going to play this little game where you try to move the goalposts. I will be glad to address your questions, but no, sir. You're going to be server muted if you don't try. You better stop with the little atheist games. I will get to all of your questions. I will get. Okay, last chance. Overtalk me one more time, and you're done. Now. We're not going to play the little atheist game where you do a mini moving of the goalpost, very little, to say, you're moving the goalpost a couple inches, but you say, I'm not moving the goalpost. Yes, you are. Now, I will get to your questions momentarily. Now, you said you don't know that your consciousness is eternal. That which is non-dependent, by definition, must be eternal. Because if it is not eternal, then it begins to exist. Whatever begins to exist is derivational and therefore dependent and not non-dependent. Since you do not know that your consciousness is eternal, therefore you cannot know that your consciousness is non-dependent. Do you understand?
I do. But, the thing is, right?
You have a contradiction here. Okay? You said it's non-dependent, but you don't know it's eternal. If something is non-dependent... Excuse me. If something is non-dependent, then by definition is eternal. If you don't know that your consciousness is eternal, then you do not know that it is non-dependent. So you have a contradiction that you have to deal with.
Right. But this argument's going nowhere because you won't ask the same questions.
Is your consciousness, do you still want to assert that your consciousness is unconditionally non-dependent?
Listen. Just because something has a starting zone doesn't necessarily mean that it's dependent.
Listen. Okay, Donnie, you said you weren't familiar with me. I don't suffer fools very long. When people evade my questions, at a certain point, no, you're not. You're responding. You're not answering my question. Now, do you know in a way that you cannot be wrong that your consciousness is unconditionally non-dependent?
Yes, I don't know what it's dependent on.
Okay.
It could be dependent or not. It doesn't matter.
Okay, listen, Donnie. What you just said was the height of stupidity. You know it's non-dependent, but you don't know what it's dependent upon. That's a contradiction in terms.
Okay. This is the thing, right? You're caging me into your own questions.
Do you realize? Listen, dude. Right now, you are doing what people doing when they get cornered. You're simply being argumentative. Now, how do you know that
you're the one yelling at me?
I'm doing it because you keep on over talking, and I'm being gracious and not permanently server muting you. Now, you're simply being argumentative because you are literally afraid of my questions. Now, do you know in a way that you cannot be wrong that your personal consciousness is unconditionally non-dependent?
Do I know in a way that I cannot be wrong that it's not dependent? No.
No, that's not what you see. You're a very poor listener. I'll repeat the question again. Do you know in a way that you cannot be wrong that your consciousness is unconditionally non-dependent?
No.
Okay, now you contradicted yourself because you told me earlier that the only thing that you know is your consciousness and that it's non-dependent. Now you said you don't know. You have now contradicted yourself.
So here's the thing, right? My position.
Did you contradict yourself?
No, because my position from the very beginning was that it was unknowledgeable.
Johnny, I'm going to be very patient with you. I could have served you a long time.
I am being very patient with you as well.
Okay, last chance, Donnie. Be argumentative with me one more time. Overtalk me one more time, and you're going to be done. You're not going to be server muted because I disagree with you. You're going to be server muted because you're being obnoxious and obstreperous and argumentative. Now, listen very carefully. You contradicted yourself. Now, either you are aware that you contradicted yourself and you're just lying, or you are unaware. You stated you know. Okay, know is a justified true belief. You know that your consciousness is unconditionally non-dependent. But then when I rephrase the question in slightly different words, and it still remains the same basic question, you said, no, you do not know in a way that you cannot be wrong. So you have contradicted yourself, and I've explained it for the second time now.
Well, I know it exists, right? Like, I know it's there.
That's Donnie, again, you're trying to change the subject by segueing onto a semi-related path. Do you know?
There's no way.
Do you know that your consciousness is unconditionally non-dependent, Donnie?
It's unconditionally non-dependent. Like, it doesn't depend on anything. It doesn't come from anything.
Do you know that, Donnie?
No, let me clarify that I'm getting what you're asking correctly.
Donnie, do you? Last chance, Donnie. I've told you this several times. My patience has run out with me.
I'm trying to understand what you're telling me.
No, you're not. Okay, Donnie, do you know that your consciousness is unconditionally non-dependent?
Dude, I'm trying to understand what you're telling me.
You have 5 seconds to answer the question.
No.
Okay,
I've already answered it.
Now, but you just told me 5 minutes ago that you did know that it was unconditionally non-dependent.
What? No, I told you that
okay, bye, Donnie. Okay,
hello.
This is
I'm
what
new
we have.
Here. Can I say something?
Is unbelievers, skeptics, and atheists.
Kind of weird.
When they get cornered with my questions, they become belligerent, they become obnoxious and obstreperous and argumentative. Okay? And then they try to move the goalpost a couple of inches and saying, I'm not moving the goalpost. You're just imagining it. And this is why you cannot have conversations with people like this. Okay?
Duncan, I have a question.
That's probably, there's some observations about what, kind of happened.
That's an incorrect assessment.
Duncan, I have a question, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I wouldn't have any respect for you, Tumas, because I already have it listed down here that you've engaged in trolling behavior. So I wouldn't respect your opinion.